I think I might just go ahead and wake these up, see what all is going to spawn, and then also to get it ready for raids to run into it. So let's just go ahead and see what's inside. See the video of people using toxic. Oh god, there's already one. Attack immediately. Crap. What is this? This is one of the new types of raids. It's melee and shotgun. Melee, shotgun, and explosive. So Cassandra woke up without me realizing it, so that's unfortunate. I wanted to have that mech cluster up, but this should be one that we can take care of anyway. So maybe it's not a big deal as long as we don't let them get those grenades off. Not seeing any low shields yet. Oh, forgot about those. All right, I gotta be more careful of that. I'm gonna have to change how we're doing the repair thing there. There's two groups. Second group still has a bit left. I need to go through these injuries. Luckily, I got out of the center of the blast. Okay. Looks fine. Yeah, we got a couple things to fix. All right, let's go ahead and put that for prisoners really quick. One's already dead. I think this one's gonna die really quick too. All right, you guys are starting to burn that. It's good. So basically, my best bet is to set up like a zone where those guys can stay there and repair on their own without me having to micromanage it. But I feel like because of the location of it, they're not really going to do it very often because they're going to end up targeting the mechs or not mechs, enemies that are coming around that corner either way. So I don't know about that. We'll have to see. Yeah, that's true. I could just make sure I have the same people set every time, put them on ignore and zone them. Might have to do that. Got some repairing to do here with the plasteel. Yeah, having that one grenade go off is like, it really sucks. It could have been way worse. Luckily, it hit only our like robust people and it didn't like center in on them. But imagine if that was like a doomsday or something, right? That could be like game ending. I'll have to get that set up, especially before we do any kind of end game event. That's also what I was kind of thinking as well yesterday about the middle barricade. I'm thinking about removing it. Like just these two. Leave that just in case. But we have so much firepower now that things are just getting destroyed anyway. And then taking away their 55% cover there is going to make it even faster. And it's going to stop some of the problems with the missed shots. So let's just cancel remaking those ones and we'll test that. Same settings. Two of your guys got mad at each other and killed the other. I was so worried about that early game, Turok. We actually had a social fight early. It's on the episode 2 on YouTube, actually. We had an early social fight with two tough, robust people and they almost killed each other. This is my preferred style. This one is the one I thought kind of matched Dwarves the best, you know, like this pointed table and yeah, I don't know. I just went, everything seemed to go pretty decently with the Dwarves. I didn't want to do like totemic or something like that because I didn't want the animals on stuff since our Dwarves aren't good at animal handling and whatnot. But this was the duo that most closely represented fantasy dwarf style a little bit out of our limited options. Why the beer weapons? Because it's better than just their fists, and also it's just fun because it's dwarf stuff. Like I should probably equip one of them with this mace, to be honest with you, but it's just been a silly thing. All right, we'll give him a mace. Beer is a weapon, too OP. The mace is hollow, filled with beer. Yes, the singularity box still works. Didn't you make a comment on YouTube asking if it still worked like this morning? And I also replied there to let you know that it still works. Yes, it still works. You're watching me slowly lose my mind. I've been hiding the information. You mean the singularity box where in the title, the description, and the pinned comment says, still working with 1.4? Yeah, I'm super hiding the information. Oh, man. I'd rather go back to the day where everyone's asking if insects are on, honestly. Yeah. So. I changed my mind. Mechs, yeah, mechs are turned off. You can tell. If you look really closely, you can see these aren't mechs. Sadistic rage. Sad youngsters. Well, I can't help it if your kids are sad. How's that my fault? Who are the children? Poink and King. What kind of name is Poink? Don't name your child Poink if you want him to be happy. You know, you can't name a child Poink and expect him to not be sad. Kangaroo. There you go, children. Stop hauling dead bodies around, I guess. Proud pigman name, going back 4 generations. How dare you? Go back 4 generations, so like what, a year? I'm going back a year. My name's Poink, how dare you? Pig names are great, I really do like them. Every time I see a little pog child, I want to kidnap it. Very first one I saw, a little pig, little 7-year-old named Pog running around. I was like, I need that pig boy. I've never needed anything more in my life than that little pig boy. The old man from Family Guy.
Here, little child.
Our modest fellowship expands. Praise the sun.
I saw that little 8-year-old pog boy and I had to have him.
The whistle's hard to do. Yeah, that is hard. Unless you got a gap there. Oh god, Lunar, look at that quote. Look at that quote. I haven't used this in a long time. Mining speed plus 70%. It's pretty good. All right, we'll just do it. We'll do it. Answer. Smoothing a floor. Not anymore, Answer. You're going to be mining for the rest of your life. Hope you enjoy it. All right, mining specialist. First time I've used a mining specialist since Arco Nexus. First ideology run. There we go. The refugees and the children will watch you become a mining specialist. Failed role change. Answer. What kind of crap is this? All right, Answer. Let's try that again. Which is better, Pemmican or nutrient paste dispenser? Well, Pemmican requires different ingredients, so Pemmican is nice because they can eat only how much they need. They don't overeat. It's very nutrient efficient. But they can still get food poisoning from Pemmican. You need multiple sources of food to make Pemmican. So paste dispenser is easier. But if you don't have like transhumanists, then they're going to be upset that they're eating paste dispenser, or if they're not like ascetic or whatnot. So paste dispenser is much easier, but they both have their pros and cons. Failed role change. I'm not sure why they're failing it. One of the spectators left. So let's just put extra spectators. I think one of the kids or something, or just one of them just having to roam out of the room while it was going on for too long. Because the lectern is so close, maybe to the edge, I'm not sure. I just want to mine. Poink is throwing people off the ritual. Look at the shelves of just weaponry inside the church. We got this chapel, and along every wall, just stacks of guns. Wait a minute, what kind of church is this? Is this a cult? No, it's not a cult. Now drink your daily Kool-Aid. Wait a minute, Adam, the Kool-Aid kills. Drink your beer, equip your weapon, and go about your business. That's true. Our religion does idolize heavy weaponry. That is true. This isn't a cult. It's a cult 45. A join offer. Let's see. Let's see. This guy wants to join the Dwarves. Lazy. Loves animals. He is the opposite of a dwarf. I'm going to go with... Nope. Is there a reason I'm not using mechs? Because that's... What? That's not dwarf. Look at this. Psychically deaf. Psychically deaf. The mechs in RimWorld take a psychic connection between the Mechanitor and the mech. And that psychic connection... That's elf crap. Ew. Elves. Ew. Why do the mechs want to hurt us? No one knows. Ew. Elves have cooties. Mech magic. Let's see here. Which one is the closest to gold? Let's go with... Let's check out pastel orange. Check out pastel orange. What's up with those mechs? Oh, what are you talking about? Our guardians of the south east. This is the Florida of the map. It's the Florida of the map. It's dangerous. No one knows what's going on there. It's a problem that will hopefully fix itself at a later time. Southwest? No. Painted smooth floor looks like garbage. We're about to find out. Haven't painted a smooth floor yet. All right, the plasteel is up. Let's get rid of this. I'm also thinking of putting doors in all of these. I also need to build a bunch of doors down here sometime to have the breachers get stuck on, but tantrum, random furniture. Excuse me, Poing. Why there? Should we just leave that one hallway dirty? Shouldn't we clean this hallway? It's just no. No, there's a sign in there. Do not clean. Why don't we clean that hallway? Sky God told us to never clean that hallway. That's where the dirt goes. Oh, okay. That makes sense, I guess. Does that look gold enough? Yeah, I think so. Let's try one more. Let's try out mustard. See how that looks. We'll put it right here so we can see very easily. Hopefully that makes sense. Do you get more beauty from painted flooring? Unfortunately, you don't. That would be nice, though. Do I accept pyromaniacs? It depends. Yeah, a pyromaniac isn't an instant no from me, but it's definitely all negative. But it doesn't matter what mood buff they get. So pyros get mood buffs for holding an incendiary weapon. They also get a mood buff from being around a campfire, but it doesn't matter. Pyros will break down no matter what their mood is. You can have them at 100% mood always. Literally 100%, never upset, and they still have a breakdown, a fire starting breakdown once every 50 days on average. So no matter what you do, no matter how happy they are, they will have a forced breakdown. So it's just a downside. Yes, you can give them extra mood, but they will break down no matter what. So same thing with Gourmand, right? Gourmand, no matter what, once every 50 days on average, they're going to have a food binge, whether they're kept super happy or not. I go over those combos in the guide, yeah. I don't know, man. Pastel versus mustard. I'm actually going with I'm leaning towards pastel here. Karaz and core colors, maybe a little bit. I think this one just looks more vivid in general. Let's see what it's going to look like with the other colors around it. This is very important stuff, obviously. Sure. You got this, Blue. You're my boy, Blue. I mean, my girl, but that's not what the movie says. Blue, I have faith in you. Just Blue and their short bow. You got this. They're dead. Back to the mountain. Well, that's an interesting interaction. What? So hang on a minute. The mustard overlaps the blue onto the blue tile, but the pastel, the blue overlaps. That's so weird. I'm not sure which one I like better because it's very interesting. I kind of like the thin one better because it almost seems like a vein of gold. It looks like someone spilled orange paint and it leaked out the door. I think so. I think I'm gonna go with this one. If you were Tynan, had to nerf barracks, how would you do that? If I were Tynan and I were going to nerf barracks, what do I think is a fair way to do it? I think if you made it so that barracks cannot be another room designation, that alone would be enough to make it so barracks are still worth using, but you then have to do another room for like your dining and recreation. So your base is still forced to be a little bit bigger. So one of the strengths of the barracks right now is that you can combine it as other rooms and you get all of the benefits of the room stats for 3 different rooms. So when you're in their mood bar, you're getting very impressive barracks, very impressive dining, very impressive recreation, all from that same room. And then you have all the other crap too, where it's, you know, beautiful surroundings, spacious, etc. So if you made it so that if you have more than one bed in a room, even if you have a table in there, you no longer get the benefit of the table being in a dining area. I think that would be enough to balance barracks to make them still strong and still space efficient, but not as efficient because you would need those extra rooms for your dining and recreation. And you can still combine those two, right? I think that would be enough if I were to do it, if I were the developer. And I don't think they necessarily need to do something like that, but if they did, I think that would be a good way to go. What about making bedrooms better or smaller? That can be fine too. Making it so your bedroom doesn't feel cramped. There's a party going on. Someone's about to have a breakdown in the party. Don't worry, it's normal. Still going with the royalty. And yeah, I'm trying. I'm kind of getting tired of waiting on the royals to show up. We could build a ship and launch it. I'm trying to go with the themed run. What permits will I get? I'll probably get the Summon Janissary, Summon Cataphract. I'm not sure on the other ones, actually. Usually I get one of the Orbital Bombardment ones, but it doesn't help us as much under the mountain as you would probably guess. I might still do that. We could use it on them as they come through here. If not, I might just grab something easy like Steel Delivery, even though Steel Delivery is only like 250 steel. Perfect. Can I explain how armor works like you're a 5-year-old? Alrighty, let me find one. Does anyone have actual armor on? The game actually lays it out pretty well. If you go in here and you hover over a defense, the game explains exactly how it works and what it rolls first. But to explain it like a 5-year-old, all right, Anubis. So you want to wear armor because when the big ouch comes, you want to have something there that absorbs that big ouch so you don't get the big ouch on your skin and it hurts the armor instead. And so use whatever the best armor is. It has the highest number. You know numbers, right? Remember when we practiced to count to 100? So the closer to 100 or even higher than numbers go higher than 100, the better. The better. So make sure you're doing that. That way the big ouch doesn't get through your armor and hurts your skin. Yeah, you wouldn't want that. Anyway, if you go in the game and you go to this, it will explain to you how it works and how it rolls different layers and which layer is rolled first, and then how the over damage rolls into the next, and so on. So just go into one of your armors, hover over it, and just read this stuff in the game if you want the not 5-year-old version. Masterful description. Numbers higher than 100? What? It's always funny talking about things like that, like learning about math and numbers in school, because when like very, very young, it's like you can't subtract 5 from 3. You can't do it. It's impossible. You cannot take a bigger number from a smaller number. And then they teach you that, and they're like, you cannot do it. Don't think you can do it, little man. And then later on in school, they're like, we kind of lied. We didn't want it to get confusing. You actually can do that. There's this whole world of negative numbers, and you're like, what the crap, teacher? And then you're like, is there anything else you haven't been telling us? And they're like, no, that's it. And then you get to like late middle school, early high school, and then the teacher comes in and they're like, today we're going to learn about imaginary numbers. And you're like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? You told me there was nothing else. There was no more lies about types of numbers. Imaginary numbers. No, I'm done with it. The planet model, the atom, yeah. There's lots of little things like that. They're there to try not to confuse the kid. It's about to improve math. It's consistent with its own rules. Yeah. It's funny. I like math though, honestly. I actually took Calculus 2 as an elective credit in my psychology. When I was taking psychology for my college degree, I needed some more credits for electives, and I took Calculus 2 as an elective credit. So I do like math. What? It is funny. Your advisor described teaching math by saying that we lie a little bit less to your students each time we cover a topic. Yeah, that's a very good way to put it. Are there imaginary colors too? How would you know? What's the point of painting the floor? Just for the aesthetic, yeah, that's it. It's literally the only reason. What's the challenge with painting the floor? In case the floor would go faster if it's red. Oh, that was one of my complaints. So here's a funny thing. I don't usually use like clickbait titles for YouTube videos and whatnot, but one of the titles for the one of the YouTube videos was something like, I want a refund, you know, and that actually got way more clicks, almost double the percentage of clicks, which is kind of crazy. But the whole reason I named that episode that is that you can paint almost all of the flooring and furniture in the game now, the buildings, walls, whatever, doors. Even you can even paint statues, but you cannot paint the spaceship. You cannot paint the spaceship. Wish the paint on the floor had hard edges. Yeah, it would be kind of nice instead of like looking like this. I need to have some masking tape down there. Legendary assaults, even compared to masterwork. It's, oh yeah. Masterwork is where things start getting crazy, and legendary is just beyond. Yeah, beyond. I wonder what's gonna run into these mechs. Just waiting on the next Cassandra's hit, see what she does. We're actually built up with a lot of beer now. We have 450 basically. So finally got that built up. I'm actually thinking about planting more die to get this done faster, but there's no real reason to. Where's the random green square? That's a good idea. No, you know what's better? I should use the other yellow in just like a very small spot. No, you're right. Like a completely different color. Maybe just like pink or something. Or maybe a green. I don't know. We'll think about it. Comment about the tile being one color off. It's making people mad, but never actually color it. You're like, wow, you didn't mess up the road this time. And I'll be like, well, I did a little bit because this right here is green. But I'm not going to fix it. I don't care. Will a pawn prefer to use built-in weapons like elbow blades? They changed how it functions a couple times. I'm not 100% anymore surreal. It used to work where they would alternate. And so it could actually lower your DPS, but I think it's in addition to now. Yeah, the melee system is kind of needlessly complex in RimWorld in general. What were we saying in Discord the other day? It was like your best place to look at melee DPS right now and worst place are both the same. It's the number in the game, but
Praise the sun.
I'm really curious what the next raid is and if it's going to hit this or not. I'm really going to see the Apocryton. You know what? It's kind of interesting. The next raid that hits this, if they don't take them out, if the raid doesn't take this out and the Apocryton is left alive, will the Apocryton revive the whole cluster over time? I don't know if the charges regenerate. That's what I'm wondering, yeah. Because I've never had one alive enough. That's why I was saying that. Where is he? He has 30. I mean, there's 2 Apocrytons, so that's still enough to revive this easily. This is less than 60 mechs. He's not resin the other cluster. I don't know if he can. What are my 5 first research projects when I start? When I'm starting tribal, my first is complex furniture. My second is stone cutting. Generally, my third is electricity. And then, depending on if I have a bunch of people researching like refugees or something like that, and depending on the map layout, a lot of times I will go straight into geothermal for my 4th, actually. If not geothermal, then I'll grab batteries and we'll say solar panel as a mix for 4. And then machining. Those are like my first 5. But what I'm really trying to get to is tribal, outside of the basics of complex furniture and stone cutting. I'm trying to get to electricity, and I'm trying to get to mortars. Electricity, mortars are like my top 2 priority generally. But again, it depends on the playthrough a little bit. Like some playthroughs, I will actually invest getting into guns faster because we haven't gotten good drops. And then sometimes we'll get good drops. And what about clothing? I usually wait on clothing. The tattered clothing debuff isn't a big deal early game, honestly. And we have so many people that we're injuring that aren't instantly dying. I can just strip them if I want. It's poor quality, but mortars are important, yes, but they asked for the first 5 and mortars are not. Whoops. Mortars are, you can't research as the first 5 if you start tribal. But also, someone asked before the stream started, so it didn't get into the recording, so I'll answer this as well. Someone asked me, what do you do if you get a siege before you're ready early game? And again, it depends a lot on your difficulty. On my difficulty, I like to try to get to mortars and things on an open map by the time I'm around 20,000 wealth or so. The smallest siege that can happen is a 2-man siege. Believe it or not, you can have 2 raiders and a mortar, right? So what do you do if that happens early game and you don't have your own mortar? And you haven't had like a rifle drop or something like that? The answer is great bows. Great bows are really, really good, actually, especially early game. It has long range, has decent damage, it has decent accuracy. You can outrange early game raiders for the most part, especially the siege ones with that. And you don't even have to hit the person. You can just aim at the mortar. So I would say if you're early game and you haven't had anything drop a rifle yet, and you don't have your own mortars, you're nowhere close or whatever, then having a couple great bows around, or if it's that small, you can bum rush them, right? Depending on your difficulty. If you have 2 or 3 pirates set up and you got 5 tribals, you can just go surround them in melee, just beat the crap out of them. But in general, you can pull to you pretty easily with a longbow. They're great bows. Yeah, I actually slept on great bows for quite a long time. Then we did a Amazon Warrior Woman run where we could only use bows in melee. And I had like 20 pawns with legendary great bows, and anything that didn't have armor was getting just ripped apart. How'd you handle sieges with melee? No shooting, no animals, and no psycasts? You'll have to watch the melee run for that, although I did use animals, yeah. What would you do for a Klondike bar? Would you kill a man? Caravan to a new tile. Yeah, that's an answer too. Man, Cassandra really beat the crap out of us early stream, and then she's kind of just chilled out a little bit. Let's see. Oh, right. I forgot about that raid. FloorBaby's growing up. Old enough to do the following work. Hey, we maxed out FloorBaby. They got 3 traits. All right. Fast walker. That will get... Wait, are they not a dwarf? If they're a dwarf, that gets suppressed anyway. They're not a full... Yeah, they don't have full dwarf genes. Great memory is best on skills that are above level 10. So, crafting, cooking. Let's do another planter. I'm going to go with great memory on this one. All right, that's the robust only one, yeah. So they were a baseliner, and we gave them the robust gene. That's right. That's what happened there. I remember FloorBaby now. It's only been a few days. The children not always obey zones when nature running. They do not. Yeah. We actually had a child in our first run get attacked by like a cougar or something. A warg, I don't remember. Had like 3 of their body parts eaten before we stopped him. I think that was a VampireBaby that went out and that happened. VampireBaby got hunted by like 5 different animals. Yeah, and every time. They also went out there one time and were freezing to death. It was winter and snowy. And suddenly I had the notification that someone was had hypothermia. And I was like, what's going on? And I click. And VampireBaby's outside of the zone. I think pantsless. Hypothermic. Falls over in the snow. Drugs fall out of his pocket. It's like, oh my lord. What's happening with this child? They start early these days. I start early. Fell out of his pocket, but he didn't have pants on. Oh yeah, yeah. Pants aren't the only things with pockets. Have you ever heard of nature's pocket? Ask your mom about it. Ask your mom and she can explain to you what nature's pocket is. I've been saying that to so many people lately. I don't think I'm going to do any more vat children. I think I'm just going to get rid of these. You're playing vanilla. Any major downsides to recruiting a teenager? They have a lower body size. So that impacts them in several ways. The biggest, most common one that people run into is with the smaller body size, they have a different safe period for drugs. Now, they did update the in-game tooltip about it. So if you click on any drug and you hover over the interval, it'll tell you, based on their age, how much they can drink or take. Some of them don't have a safe interval. But for like beer, your baby's 0 to 2, they can have a beer every 5 days. But yes, they also have lower HP with lower body size, so you have to be careful with drugs and obviously when they take damage. It's good to know how often you can give your little kids beer. Yeah. We're almost done installing all these kidneys. Hooray. We're even gonna give the little kids kidneys. Here you go, little kid. Even the baby gets a kidney. Sick with blood rot, daily treatment. Keep his mood up. I need a royal bedroom sometime. 6.9 days to accept. All right, we'll go ahead and get a royal bedroom down here. It's a little scary though. Breachers might not like us doing that too much. That makes the throne room too small. We'll open that up for it. Let's not go ahead and do this. We'll eventually need it anyway. I definitely don't want it to burn. Oh, man. Steel burns. I'm just going to do it as steel. Screw it. Is the intent 20 for every storyteller? It is now. They changed. Randy's used to be 50, but they changed this to 20 back in like 1.3 or something like that. However, he has some other modifiers that make so he still gives you a little bit more overall. One of the notable things with Randy is like with Cassandra and Phoebe, there's a time that they can no longer send you slavers, for instance. They can no longer send you slavers. Randy actually, even though it's a low chance, Randy can actually send you slavers the entire game. So stuff like that does make it so you're in the long run a little bit more likely to get more pawns with Randy. But in general now they have the same population intent and it's right at 20. Nice bed of uranium. The village has 20 people. The slave trade must immediately be dissolved. It's really, I know it's a game mechanic, but we're talking about that. We talked about it a lot before, but it makes no sense. Like even in my fluid ideology run, it shows how just god awful Randy can be, especially in the jungle. But anyway, we're there. We're starving to death and naked. We're living in this little hut with nothing. We have food poisoning. We have disease, whatever. And we don't have anything to defend ourselves. And this big group of slavers comes in with weapons and animals and like 5 slaves. And I don't even have any silver yet or anything, right? And they're like, hey, you want to buy some of these slaves? Instead of taking me as a slave. There's no way. There's no way that would be. But obviously a lot of things in RimWorld aren't accurate. But just imagine that. You're like, my character's like trying to put on a front. Like, hey guys, I'm just out here to see what you got for trade. The rest of the colony are they're at prayer. They're at prayer right now, and the guys look over, and it's like a little hut or something, and it's like they let me go, but yeah, they're all crammed in there. They're at prayer. You know, you could go inside, but the door is a little blocked by all of our advanced weaponry. So, you know, the door, it's got all kinds of stuff there. Just don't worry about it. You could just trade with me. I mean, if it was realistic, that guy, you're gone. Your characters, you get a slave that shows up and you have one colonist, you're becoming the slave. Yeah. You have a social skill 20. Maybe you want to be a slave at that stage. Yeah. I'm so hungry. Please take me. Please. I beg of you.